You're watching Austin Underground. This is Emily. I'm here with Zella Day. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. This is not your first South by Southwest, correct?
No, I was here last year. On my birthday, actually.
Really?
Yeah, my birthday doesn't fall on festival days this year, but last year it did. This year it's different because it's not my birthday. But yes, having a good time.
Did you turn 21?
No, I turned 20, which is like the worst age to be because nobody cares about 20.
You're right there. You're almost there.
Exactly. I said goodbye to my teenage years, which felt like a big deal, and I was like, wow, no 20? Like, it's not 20, it's actually 20, which is weird, but yeah, a year for me to be full-on adult, I guess.
You were super rushed coming here last year, right?
What do you mean by rushed? Oh yeah, like kind of last minute. Yeah, it kind of was a last minute thing. I didn't even know what South by Southwest was until they told me I was playing it. I think it kind of happens, like just wherever you live, like geographically, you're just sort of like isolated in your little spot if you don't travel that much. I wasn't really traveling for music that much, so South by was my first introduction into festival life.
That's so cool. And you're playing a lot of festivals this year, right? You're playing.
I'm playing a lot. South by and Bottle Rock and Lollapalooza and Firefly and Hangout Fest. So
that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so this year's Halfly has been better. You're more prepared.
I am more prepared. It does seem a little bit more relaxed. I think I know what to expect a little more. I just got in last night, and since last year, I made a few friends actually from Austin. So we got a few friends who are in bands that are playing, which will be cool because it's kind of like a communal like hang. It's like there's so many bands here, like we were talking about, and it's fun to play my own shows, but then also go to shows. So
yeah, totally. Well, I can never get your songs out of my head. I love them. Yeah, I know. I absolutely love them.
This is because I sing them all the time. I don't know.
Tell me about your songwriting process.
Songwriting process is always different. I think it just depends on where I'm at. I mean, I have my notes on my phone. I have like hundreds of notes, just lyrics and verses, and then also voice memos. Like that's sometimes where it starts. Unless I'm in the studio or at my house sitting down at my instrument and, you know, setting aside time to write a song. So it's always different. Also, I mean, I've written songs in like an hour, and then others take days, just depending on just the flow of each one, because they're all so different. They have different personalities, and some of them are more stubborn than others. But the songwriting process, I guess, is the same in which I always write from the same place. It's always kind of like this wave of consciousness, this subconsciousness that I sort of am inspired by. That lasts probably for like a short time, and so I try to like get as much out of that as I possibly can and then perfect it into a song, if that makes sense. So yeah.
You started with music when you were super young, right?
Yeah, really young. I mean, I started playing guitar when I was 9 years old, just because, I mean, just like any little girl, I love to sing. My parents owned a coffee house in Pine Top, where I'm from, called More Coffee, and it was the only place in town where there was live music, so I was surrounded by musicians. Like, the scene was where I was every day after school, so I just picked up a guitar because it just was natural and there was really nothing else to do, and I also wanted to be a singer, and my mom was always like, well, Zella, you can't just be a singer, you need to be a musician, because she also sings. Okay. But she just wanted me to be like self-contained, a little bit more self-contained, self-sufficient, so I learned an instrument, and I haven't really stopped, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's really great that you had that support. Yeah. You know, I think that that's important for a lot of musicians.
It is. I think that especially for young musicians, it's really important to have a support system, whether that be family or just like an outer like resource that's just like really kind of feeding you as a young person, just because I mean, I tend to think that children are fragile, you know, when we're growing. It's like we're trying everything on for size, and it's like we don't really have the self-confidence yet to be like, oh yeah, okay, this is definitely good. This music I'm writing is the best. You know, it's not like that. So you have to have somebody telling you to keep going a little bit. So I definitely had that growing up, which I'm really lucky for.
That's really awesome. How did you kind of figure out your sound? Like,
I think the sound was an evolution. I play guitar and sing, and so I definitely started out very singer-songwriter. I still am. I actually create these videos called Day by Days where it's just me and my guitar. And on my upcoming record, Kicker, I have a song on there, Jameson, that's just me and my guitar as well. So I still have a lot of that woven into my sound. But I think over the past few years, recording with the producers that I've been recording with, they've kind of led me in different directions too, to take some risks with program beats and synths and kind of like build the sound and make it a little bigger, which I'm really grateful for, because in my live performances with my band, I like the power now that the songs have rather than if it was just me and my guitar. But so I think it's just been like a harmony of the two worlds, you know, like sonically having sort of programmed electronic music, and then also me and my organic guitar and singing and just sort of roots.
Yeah, totally. Did moving to LA influence your sound at all?
Definitely influenced my sound. Living in Pine Top was one of the only kids playing music, so there wasn't really that kind of collaborative environment where I was feeding off of other people. And like everybody, when I talk about the scene at More Coffee, it was all like older men in their 60s playing like Bob Dylan covers, you know what I mean? So moving to LA was cool just because there was a lot of young people playing music. And I think that for me, that definitely was conducive to me pushing myself, just because I realized that there are other people doing what I'm doing, and I was influenced by the sounds and like what other young musicians are up to in LA. It's like it's a really like beautiful culture right now. There's a lot of people making a lot of good music. So you moved when you were 17. Yeah.
Was that absolutely terrifying?
No, it wasn't terrifying. I've been traveling for a while. When I was living in Pine Top, I was writing through BMG Publishing. They had an office in Nashville. So I was living in Arizona, and every month I would be flown out to Nashville, and I'd stay for a week and have writing sessions. So it was kind of like the best music college ever imaginable. So I would go there, write, and then come back, and then just like sit in Pine Top, and then go to Nashville. And then Nashville kind of turned into LA because there were writers in LA that people wanted me to work with just to like try it on for size, and it just clicked. And so after I made that transition to LA and writing and working with producers there, I never really went back to Nashville. I mean, I've gone back since like starting to record in LA, but I think like my primary sound has definitely been sort of discovered in LA. But when I moved, it wasn't scary, just because I sort of already had a thing going on in LA. I felt like I had a life to come to. So it wasn't like I was just moving into oblivion and I was like, oh shit, like this, I have no idea what this is going to hold for me, because I knew people and I trusted my music, and so that's kind of been like the grounding force in it all. It's just the music and me trusting myself and what I'm doing, you know.
And now you have a song on the Insurgent soundtrack. Yeah. What was that like? What was that process?
That process was really cool because I had not yet written a song for a film. So I got presented that opportunity through mutual friends, actually, that knew Shailene. And about a year ago, one of my friends showed Shailene my record and played her 1965. And she loved it. And a year ago, I guess, is when her and the director were sort of talking about the soundtrack for the upcoming Insurgent film. And he was needing somebody for the end title. He like wanted a female voice, and he just wasn't really sure what to necessarily look for, I guess. Didn't really know where to look. He knew what he was looking for, just didn't know where to look. And Shailene showed him my music, and he loved it, I guess. Because fast forward a year later, and we were getting a call for them, and they were asking me to write a song for the film, and that took about like 3 days. I was so excited. And I wrote probably like the body of the song on the first day, and then the last 2 days I spent producing. But that was really cool and inspired, and I really loved going into the studio and having like a goal in mind, and also like a timeline of when I needed to be finished. Because usually when I go in and write, it's always like kind of open-ended, and I'm just like, whatever comes. But this was like way more kind of like strategic, which I enjoyed. So
that's really awesome. So last question, if you had to give advice to your fans, what would it be?
Advice musically, I think it's interesting. I'm finding now, being in the industry a little bit you know, just a little bit. I mean, I'm not like a seasoned veteran at all, but I'm finding with music, what I really love about it is that it really is, it's very equal. Like, because no matter who you are, what you look like, or what your sound is, whatever it is, the best music wins. So if you're making something really authentic and true to you, and it's like you really kind of have the chance to go really far, because there's nobody that's you besides you, and yeah, it's kind of like you really are one in a million, which is really special. I'm finding that it gets a little scary sometimes because there's so many people playing music and so many beautiful girls that have beautiful voices. But yeah, it's all about writing. I think when you can write your own music is when you really have nothing to worry about.
Well, I'm definitely going to catch you at South by. Thank you for doing the interview.